That's right up, hey, hey! Go up! Multi-hub's got to go, 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 hey, hey! Go up! Multi-hub has got to go!
Hi, this is Will James for Uprise RI. We're in Providence, Rhode Island. Transit advocates, racial justice advocates are marching to the proposed location of a bus hub. This would be a bus hub built to accommodate. So the plan is to break up Kennedy Plaza, proposed by Governor Gina Raimondo. So people are marching to the proposed bus hubs to demonstrate that these are not the best interest of transit people, transit riders. So again, sorry, that explanation was kind of bad. So again, we're here at Kennedy Plaza. We are marching from Kennedy Plaza, where there is currently a bus hub, to the proposed location of other bus hubs that would replace Kennedy Plaza. This is a plan proposed by the Rhode Island Department of Transportation and Gina Raimondo.
Multi-hub has got to go, hey, 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 hey! Multi-hub has got to go, hey, 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 hey! Multi-hub has got to go, hey, 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 hey! Multi-hub has got to go, hey, 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 hey! Multi-hub has got to go, hey, 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 hey! Multi-hub has got to go, hey, 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 hey! Multi-hub has got to go, hey, 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 hey! Multi-hub has got to go, hey, hey! Multi-hub has got to go, hey, 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 hey! Sisters and brothers, we want to look like, we want this to look like with first. So let's all stick together as tight as we can. So people can see that we're a strong movement here. Making these demands of public transit.
Whose buses are buses? Whose transit are transit? Island Department of Transportation to break up Kennedy Plaza. Community groups are opposing it, saying it would cause additional travel times for seniors, other people who had to walk to different bus hubs instead of simply going to Kennedy Plaza.
But if you want to get also email you, there's a bunch of groups sponsored on there.
Yeah, online stuff. That's what I was just thinking. Like,
knock it off, Gina! Don't be a jerk! Sabotage where rips don't work! Knock it off, Gina! Don't be a jerk! Knock it off, Gina!
Be a jerk. Let transit work. Good. Look at it.
Saying, what do we want? Fully funded transit. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Fully funded transit. When do we want it? Now. Ignazio is here in support of the march, saying they also do not want Kennedy Plaza broken up. Again, we are marching to the different proposed bus hubs that would replace Kennedy Plaza. Community groups are here to oppose the breakup of Kennedy Plaza, saying it would cause additional transfer times and travel times for seniors and other people, and it would just be generally inconvenient.
hub has got to go. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho.
Multi-hub has had to go, referencing the multi-hub plan, opposing it.
Multi-hub has got to go. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go. Hey, 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 ho, ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go. Ho, ho. Multi-hub has got to go.
So an interesting thing is that people appear to be driving by and saying like "fuck BLM" and things like that, even though this isn't a BLM rally. It's just it is somewhat related to that because people have been saying this would negatively affect Black, Indigenous people of color, who are the largest percentage of RIPTA bus riders. But people on the street appear to just be yelling at this group because it's a group that's outside and it could be BLM. So it's just something important to note.
They were telling us like some of the people
must be heard.
right now. They have like a bunch of.
What do you think about this becoming one of the bus hubs that's proposed by RIDOT? Anybody?
Too far. Doesn't seem like much.
My name is Gloria Lariba, and I'm really glad to be here. I've never been to a Providence protest before. It's the first for me. The reason that I've used to protest probably in every state this year, so here's a new one. But it's very important because I live in San Francisco, and I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I've also been to other cities this year. In Albuquerque, New Mexico, they're turning the whole public bus system into one that's geared for the rich, for the upcoming Google and Facebook campuses, if you can imagine, where there'll be these super fast lines that go way out to the suburbs, and the bus stops are going further and further apart, so far apart, that the people who usually ride the bus are poor, disabled, young, poor, older people, and who need the buses as they used to run. San Francisco, the same thing. Going down Mission Street, the bus system is now a newfangled system that doesn't meet the needs of the people. But all these transit systems are geared for the future developments of people with money.
Right.
And we need more public transit. Now, with the budget crises of the pandemic, cities from San Francisco, which says they're going to have to cut back 75% of the Muni line because there's no money. But they give tax breaks to Google, Facebook, Twitter. All those companies that don't pay anything, they get tax breaks. The companies that don't need any tax break, but should be paying taxes so that we can live in the city.
Yep.
And so why do people take the bus? To go to work.
Yep.
Those companies should pay for us going to work instead of coming out of our meager wages. We have a big fight here, and I salute the people of Providence for what you're doing.
Would anybody like to talk about the Dyer Street and what they think of this building as a new bus hub?
Hard to imagine. Sounds like a joke. Bad joke.
I mean, what kind of access is there over here? Isn't it super ableist to do all this and not take that into account at all?
Yeah.
Right? How safe is it to travel over here? Who plows the sidewalks?
Yeah, come up
I mean,
to the...
I'm good. I don't know.
So won't housing for the rich be built here in the future?
Yeah.
Isn't that what
I'm also new. Oh, how do I do that?
Fairly new to oh my God, Providence. I don't take the bus because I don't have to here. I have in other places. When you have to take the bus, you have to take the bus. We're going to work, you're going to the doctor. It's bullshit and it's unacceptable ableism to make it harder to use public transit. It's public transit. It's for the public. If it does not serve the greater public who are not rich, who is it serving? Rich people aren't taking the bus here. They don't care. They're not plowing the sidewalks. They're not making sure there's safe access. They're not going to make sure that all of these sidewalks have signs, have handicap access, because they don't care. This is about rich people, again, not the public, right? Everyone here knows what it's like to be screwed over, be late for work, to run around, to have shit break down. They don't know, they don't care, right? We all live here, well, most of us. It's a beautiful city. We need beautiful transit so that we can lift everyone up and have access to the great city. The river's not for the rich. The river's for everybody, and so is our buses. I don't know much about speaking about ableism because I am able-bodied, but I do know that this city is impassable in the winter if you are not able-bodied. If you cannot walk, if you cannot stroll, you cannot use your wheelchair, how are you supposed to get to work? Those people all have jobs. They deserve to have jobs. People who are disabled deserve to have good access to their work too. So, all get to this ableism.
We have one more speaker before we move on.
Right here.
Hi, I'm Jackie McConnell. I was raised in Providence. I live in Providence. One of the biggest things that is a barrier is Rhode Island housing released opportunity areas for affordable housing, which is more pointed towards southern Rhode Island and in the suburbs, but our people cannot get to those housing opportunities because we spend more money on trying to redo Kennedy Plaza and not to extend our bus line. So we need to concentrate more on that. So when we're building affordable housing, people are able to go to the store and do the things that they need to do.
She is in that.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next meeting. Let's try that again. We're going to move on to our next meeting house. Follow John.
Slow down.
Really?
Slow down. Tell them to slow down.
Guys, go slowly. Slowly? Guys, slowly.
Hi, so we were just at the first stop of the proposed multi-cab proposed by the Rhode Island Department of Transportation that would replace Kennedy Plaza. It's here on Dyer Street in the jewelry, at the edge of the jewelry district. transit, not private profits. Public transit, not private profits. Public transit, not private profit. Again, this is Will James Stop by Dry. We're at a march between the different proposed bus hubs that would replace Kennedy Plaza. This is a plan proposed by the Rhode Island Department of Transportation and Governor Gina Raimondo to essentially eliminate Kennedy Plaza as a major bus hub and create a few different smaller bus hubs in different places around Providence.
What's your name? Public transit!
Whose buses? Our buses.
Our buses!
multi-hub, creating multiple hubs instead of just having Kennedy Plaza. People at the last stop spoke about how spending this money on renovating Kennedy Plaza could be better used for additional bus routes, funding additional bus routes. People expressed concerns about people with disabilities having to go between the different bus hubs. Again, you can always scroll back and just see those on desktop or on Periscope.
It's been interesting, even like since COVID started, and I love the bus. Just kind of like early on, alcohol, driving to different like CVS and Walgreens and everything. Because God, I've never been to any of these places. I've never had a car or so I've actually seen a lot more. And I mean, as soon as like I was tired,
Under the bus! 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 Under the bus!
What is he saying?
Under the bus!
What is he saying?
Under the bus!
Don't throw comments? Okay.
Under the bus! Under the bus! Under the bus!
He's saying don't throw riders, and then people are responding under the bus. So don't throw riders under the bus.
Under the bus!
Gonna be marching for about half an hour in between the different bus hubs that would replace Kennedy Plaza. So the march itself is a demonstration about how long it would take to go between the different bus hubs. So we were just at the Dyer Street hub in the Julia District, and now we're going to the train station bus hub. So these don't exist as bus hubs yet. They're proposed to replace Kennedy Plaza as the major bus hub.
That was basically suggested evidence so they could use it to make it possible for any kind of public health. Because RIDOT never.
So Big Naso doesn't speak. Those are the aliens that you just saw. And you can assume that they are supporting us because one reason they're supporting it is because they often come to Kennedy Plaza to reach out to people. They understand that people use the system. But these are assumptions, so maybe I should ask. Assuming the prize are eyes. A name, you don't have to give your real name or something.
I already gave it. I already screwed up. It's Gabriello.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks for being here.
students. Use the buses. High school students. Use the buses. Essential workers. 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 Use the buses. Whose buses? Our 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 buses.
This is the final of the mini hub locations. No, it's kind of waiting for Patricia. There's a chance for everybody to kind of record again.
Is there any feedback from these guys, from the MBTA and from Amtrak? Does anyone ask them, like, how do you guys think we're gonna all fit up here?
Not that I'm aware of. Anybody seen Patricia?
Imagine watching all this. Yeah.
Would you like to talk about that in the live? No, it's alright.
Oh.
So I broke my foot 4 years ago, and I was trying to take the in a boot. Yeah. And like,
Oh no.
We are at a march between the proposed bus hubs that would replace Kennedy Plaza as the major or one bus hub for Providence. So people are gathered here today in opposition of that plan from Governor Raimondo and RIDOT, the Rhode Island Department of Transportation. People today have been saying it could create difficulties for people with disabilities because they would have to perhaps walk between different buses if they want to transfer. And it seems people generally believe it might be a bad use of money. One person who said they've been using RIPTA their whole life said that they would prefer to see the redevelopment money spent on expanding bus lines and creating additional stops and routes and shorter transit times and things like that instead of building new bus hubs. Recently there was a public meeting on this at the city council and unfortunately the public was not able to comment. So because of that, and just out of general concern, people have been saying that Governor Raimondo and the City Council are not listening. Some City Council members have expressed opposition to this plan as well. You can see all that on uprisingri.com. We have a ton of articles out about this, all the videos where you can see what people have been saying. A few more people, I think, are going to speak here today.
Okay, folks. This is our last stop. Shameless. Patricia is on her way up. She had an extensive, long interview with Channel 6 at the last location, which is why we were waiting for her a little bit. So, kind of relax for just a minute and invite anybody who would like to say a word or two that hasn't been said yet that you'd like to say about this being. It actually makes sense to have a hub here because it connects with the train, but not to have them split up into 3 small hubs, none of which can accommodate all the necessary transfers. Anybody want to add anything to it about their thoughts about the process?
What process?
No process, exactly. No process. Please.
Hey everybody, my name's Jonesy. I ride the bus. Occasionally I ride my bike a good amount around town. I don't own a car. And the quality of public transit in this state means a lot to me, both as somebody who rides the bus and as somebody who cares a lot about climate and the environment and reducing car ownership for climate goals. I think it's important sort of to understand the background of where this plan is coming from. I followed the news around the emergence of this plan for a while and the different people who have been pushing for things like this, and there's no smoking gun as to why RIDOT did this, but if you start to pay attention to who's been advocating for it, a picture starts to emerge. So some background. Several years ago, Rhode Island voters approved $35 million in a bond to improve public transit hubs around the state of Rhode Island. That's to improve our public transit system statewide. Simultaneously, we've had a planning process at the city level. Our city planning department has been working on plans to improve Kennedy Plaza, to improve the bus flow and make it a better experience for riders. And they've been doing extensive outreach, talking to people in the community, building a plan that'll make Kennedy Plaza better. So we've got this money that's supposed to make transit better statewide. We've got our local government working to make transit better here in downtown. Things seem all right, right? Now, suddenly RIDOT comes out with this plan out of left field that they want to dismantle Kennedy Plaza and build several worse hubs in places that we don't want them. So why is that happening? Where does that come from? Now the only people, we know that nobody who uses the system or is involved with the system is in support of this. Riders are against it, environmentalists are against it, our local elected officials are against it, community organizations are against it. All of our elected officials for all the districts around downtown are against it. So why are they doing it? We know publicly that Joe Paolino, the owner of the Superman building and multiple properties downtown, has been advocating for years to remove buses and bus riders from the vicinity of his buildings. He's on record. He's spoken in the paper about it. He wants to bury the buses under Kennedy Plaza. He wants to do this with the buses, that with the buses. Anything to get buses and bus riders away from his properties.
That's his hotel, right?
It's his impression of how he's going to raise his property values. He thinks that our presence in the world, our presence in downtown, make his properties less valuable. And he wants to push for any way to get us gone. And so there's no smoking gun. Nobody can say that RIDOT is doing this because Joe Paolino told them to. But all we know is that Joe Paolino seems to be the only person in the state who has advocated for a plan like this. Nobody else wants this plan. And all of a sudden RIDOT, who controls that $35 million of bond money, they come out of left field and say, no, we're not going to build hubs around the state to make transit better. We're going to blow up your transit center downtown and build several worse ones where you don't want them.
Yeah.
So like, you know, just you gotta look who's got the incentives, who's trying to push for this, and ask like, where do we think this plan comes from? You know? It's not any of us, it's not anybody who uses the bus or benefits from the bus who wants this. It's a misappropriation of voter approved funds. And ultimately, the Rhode Island Department of Transportation, RIDOT, which controls this bond money, they are only answerable to Gina Raimondo. And the feds. Yeah. So, if we want to take this fight, if we want to continue this fight, if we want to make this plan that's hurting us and hurting our transit system end, we need to take it to the decision makers, the people like Raimondo and Peter Alviti, the director of RIDOT, who are the only people who have the power to stop this plan, which is misappropriating funds and hurting our transit system.
All right, well said, well said. So we're going to make the final stretch to the State House. Anybody who still wants to speak, think about what you want to say on the steps of the State House. You can say it directly to the governor. All right, we ready? Go.
It's not even all, just barely.
It seems like the kind of thing you would ask them to, verbally respond directly. Well, how often is it just on just because facing? Yeah, I mean, some months.
Providence, Rhode Island right now. How are you doing? I so will. How is your house doing?
You're crowded. And then, the dock.
Yes, I saw that on the way up. Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, I wish we could have ridden together or something.
I know. Well, I'm staying in Providence.
Well, I was gonna say, isn't the new chair like a former lawyer?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Out from never a hard time just commuter buses, like to Westerly and to Tiverton, like to 6 to 10. They're only, some AM and then PM buses. But it will run.
So we were just at the second proposed bus hub at the train station. One person saying, there's not a smoking gun to say like who's getting this plan proposed, but Joseph Paolino, the former mayor of Providence, owns buildings downtown, and previously he has proposed removing buses from Kennedy Plaza, likely to increase his property values. And one of the people speaking said that it seems like he could have influenced his plan since he has wealth and connections. Some sign to say Save Kennedy Plaza, Governor, please don't throw riders under the bus. Better transit, less hassle. Knock it off, Gina. Let RIDOT work. Keep the bus hub where the people are. Hi, I'm live streaming for Uprise RI. My name's Will Jane. Would you like to talk about why you're here today? Live stream?
Sure.
It's okay if you don't want to, I won't force you.
No, I was just talking to him about his grade.
Okay, yeah, can I just turn the camera towards you? That's okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been riding for 10 years along with my bus, my bike, and I've lived in different areas in Providence, in Rhode Island, and experienced different types of rides because of that, because it's a much different ride that you experience when you live outside the city than when you live in the city. So I've often, kind of protest. I helped get buses to Tiverton when I lived there and they didn't have a bus. When I realized they didn't have a bus, I thought that's not right. So just always try to stay in touch with what's going on, and this just is another reason to come out. I mean, this is sort of like blowing up Kennedy just because one person potentially wants it to happen, and that one person is hugely influential with money and property to completely get it took them a long time to get this far, but that's how those guys work. They just keep at it. And they've just left Kennedy to die, basically. And the people that are there that sort of hang out there, they need outreach, they need support, they need help. You don't just blow up a place.
You're speaking about the homeless population?
Yeah, which is why he wants it gone. Why he wants to blow up Kennedy and have it not be a bus hub.
Right.
It's like this.
What does your sign say?
They're no knocking Kennedy. It's like a no knock warrant, where they don't tell you, they just show up and then burst into your apartment and kind of, without notice.
Right.
So not letting us
and
talk.
What's your name?
Colleen.
Colleen, okay.
Give a big round of applause for our friends with the Big Nazo puppets. Who would like to step forward and share some words for the governor about their thoughts on this plan? Anybody? Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Jovan. I don't go to many protests, anything of the sort. Speak up, Jovan. I get that a lot. So I think this is just another example of our neoliberal, neo-fascist, feudal servitude. Now, I'm a Providence native. I've been here since I was born. I was born and raised here, and it's just further proves just how okay we are with dividing the rich and the poor, black and white, etc., etc. It seems like there's no end in sight. It seems that they picked their side. They are not for the people. That is how it seems. That's about it. All right. Next. Woo! Hello everyone, my name is David Morales, State Representative-elect for House District 7 here in Providence. I just want to remind the Governor and the Rhode Island Department of Transportation to remember who it is that uses public transportation. It is working families, low-income residents, and our communities of color who depend on RIDOT. They depend on RIDOT to get to work. We depend on RIDOT to do our laundry, to get groceries, to access school. You name it, transit is there as a public service. It has never been designed for profit.
And it amazes me and it shocks me that the only time we ever pay attention to public transportation is when we're going to make the experience more inconvenient for the people who depend on it. Why don't we pay attention and invest in victims in terms of making it subsidized and free for everyone who needs it? It took decades for us to finally get a full day pass. And now, with the bond money that we have available, we could make stops more frequent. We could make them more accessible to the neighborhoods that need them the most. But instead, we want to divide and create multiple hubs that are going to be inefficient, that are going to draw less ridership, and ultimately, this is how divestment from public services start. This is how privatization starts. And we are here collectively to demand that the governor and the Department of Transportation reject these proposed plans that are essentially being used with our tax dollars, because those bonds have to be paid back. And now more than ever, we must stop this beginning and this cycle of divesting from public services and creating it to a degree that is so inconvenient that people say, to hell with it, we don't need it. But instead we are here because we care about public transportation. We are here because we understand the value of it and the value it serves to all our communities. So until RIDOT rejects this plan, we are going to continue to be vocal, we're going to continue to be public to say that this does not help the experience of anyone except wealthy developers who want to enter downtown and create luxury development that's going to be inaccessible to the people that Providence is comprised of the most. That is working people.
Any other takers?
Peace everyone, my name is Indira and I'm an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. So during a global pandemic, there have been many demands put forward by the working class people of Rhode Island, like the cancellation of all rents and mortgages, more COVID testing, or free PPE. None of those calls have been answered by this administration. The plan to break up a central transit hub is a decision that is being made by politicians who are more interested in accumulating wealth and privileges rather than governing for the common good. Raimondo didn't present this plan to the people. El Raza didn't present this plan to the people. It was imposed from the top down by a class that doesn't even take public transportation. Governor Raimondo and Mayor El Raza had presented this plan last year at a closed-door meeting to the Providence Foundation directors and Board of Trustees, a foundation that has Bank of America and Blue Cross Blue Shield executives as board members. We weren't invited there. That foundation has supported this plan with the idea that great spaces such as Boston Public Garden, New York Bryant Park do not have bus stops in their interior. We are not Boston or New York. We are Rhode Island, and they should be giving it up for the people here. Peter Alvelti, the director of RIDOT, claims that consultants were hired to crunch commuting data to arrive at this plan. Who did those consultants optimize this plan for? Can they even tell us how it will benefit the working class? Improve our lives? This is too familiar, especially as a Black person who has family that was negatively affected by development like urban renewal. Urban renewal projects cut off collective power of Black and brown communities in American cities. RIDOT wants to make Black and brown folks who are using the centralized transportation to be diffused across multiple disconnected points. It is no wonder why urban renewal was called Negro removal. The continuing of this development without democratic involvement of the people is racist, it's classless, it's elitist, and it must be stopped. We gather here to expose this plan. We demand that Raimondo withdraw this public transportation of Providence and Rhode Island actually for the people. And I just want to end for us to look around and see who makes Providence run, right? It's us here. It's the black and brown communities, the working class, the multinational ethnicities that cover Rhode Island, right? It's so diverse. Woo! And who isn't here? And look at who isn't here, right? Gina's net worth is $300 million that she made off of her political decisions, off of every single one of us. She doesn't take the bus, right? She doesn't care that we have to commute longer, be taken away further from our families, right? Longer to commute to our workplaces because we don't even get livable wages here in Rhode Island.
Yeah. Nope.
Those people are out of touch from our reality. But in Providence right now, we do have an opportunity to shake it up. We don't have to choose between Democrats and Republicans, right? We don't have to decide which is worse because they're both worse, right? Right now we have an opportunity on the presidential ballot for Gloria La Riva, right? Who's actually from the working class, who's on the ballot here in Rhode Island, who's here today marching with us, right? We need people who are the working class, part of the struggle. And today at 4 o'clock at Burnside Park, we'll be there. Gloria will be there to answer any questions about our program. Just find us with the red shirts. Woo!
So are there any other people who would like to speak? We have time for a couple more.
I have one public service announcement. and then bring your thoughts up. I'd like to ask everybody to take a moment, pull your phone out, open up Facebook, and like the RI Transit Riders group. The reason I'm saying that is because there's going to be an opportunity to be heard September 30th. There's a committee of the City Council in Providence that was going to hear people about a week ago, and the meeting got hijacked. There were 45 people who were signed in on Zoom to speak, and they weren't allowed the opportunity. So they've rescheduled it to September 30th. My guess is you should be prepared to be patient and stick around, but you should be heard. And the way to find out about the meeting and to sign up, we're going to post a link on the RI Transit Riders Facebook page. So that way there you'll get the notice. Somebody else was going to speak next.
Hi, I'm Brian. I've lived in Providence for a few years and I've worked a lot in the public schools. And I just want to quickly shine a light on that group of young people that don't really get the representation. And our city, they make our students, especially high school students, rely on public transportation. And there isn't some sort of cut deal in order to save money. No, that actually comes out of schools' budgets, which they can't afford. If we want our students and young people to have quality after-school programming, which invariably strengthens their relationships with each other in the city, they can't do that unless they use RIPTA. If we blow up our hub, if we go back in that city planning, our young people aren't going to have the opportunities simply because it's systematically not going to be there. We have police who systematically track our young people. If we break up their strength in numbers at centralized locations and hubs for transportation, we're making them more vulnerable for what they're already vulnerable for. So please keep that in mind as you move forward with this.
Hi everybody, I'm Steve Alquist. I don't usually speak at these. I usually just record them and put them up, but I do want to talk about the idea that this is a done deal, or that Gina Raimondo is going to do this no matter what we do or how we go. I've covered done deals in the past, and then they don't happen. Okay? Gina was 100% support the Barville Power Plant. Barville Power Plant is not happening. Right? The way you stop this, bring it to the attention of everyone. You broadcast this to the world. You let people know what's happening here isn't right, that democracy isn't being served, that we are only serving very rich downtown developers by doing this. And we can, in fact, beat this, but we're going to have to pull together, really work hard, and throw it in her face every chance we get. Don't forget, she's a politician. Sure, she's not up for re-election here, but she's got ambitions. And we should make sure we tie this to her ambitions and make those ambitions possible without her giving in to what we, the people here, want.
With you guys that I just looked up, Gina in 2013 was the 18th richest person in the entire Rhode Island state. Paolino was the 12th richest person in the entire Rhode Island state. Since then, it's risen a lot. I haven't checked the 2020 stats, and I couldn't find them right now, but I know that the last time I checked, I found an article that said that she was the 3rd richest person in the state. So just letting you guys know, they're not making some fatal mistake or anything like that. They're not confused, they're not misinformed. They have the budget to inform themselves, so why don't they? Oh yeah. They actively want to harm black and brown people, and we need to stop that. So, thanks.
Hi, my name is Terry. I'm an organizer at Dyer for Tenant Homeowners Association. What I really like to say is have some compassion for the city of Providence. We are in the middle of a pandemic. We are all wearing masks. Yeah. We should not have to worry about breaking up Kennedy Plaza at a time like this. Right. While we are still wearing our masks, let's get back to the city's climate justice plan. Yeah. We need those electric hybrid buses. Right. That's what we need. This is critical. With all the pollution and gas emissions that are coming out of the buses, this is what we should be worried about. Right. That's what we should be bonding. Now I'm here to speak on behalf of RIDOT riders that couldn't make it here. We have visually impaired riders. Yeah. We have riders, handicapped riders, disabled riders. We have little riders, big riders. It's our city. This is our city. And in this pandemic, evictions should not be happening. Nope. Right. Because one eviction is one eviction too many. Yeah. And if RIDOT bus riders, RIDOT bus drivers can show support, I'd say take a knee with RIDOT riders as we get through this. We do not need Kennedy Plaza broken up. Kennedy Plaza is a historical landmark where riders from all over come to get from point A to point B. And that is going to be a big inconvenience if you mess with it. Yeah. So have a heart. We are in a pandemic. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for coming today. We're going to stop while everybody's still got enough energy. Go out and fight again. Make sure that you sign up for our
Will James from Leicester. We are just at a march between the different proposed hubs of Kennedy Plaza. The march itself is a demonstration about marches say would create inconvenience for transit riders having to go between these different hubs if they need to transfer.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. But I was going to take the back seat. No, don't be.
I've had that issue.
No, I mean like.
Different people have spoken about different things. You can always scroll back and see what they said. Quick summary, people have said it's suspicious that this is being proposed. There's not many people supporting it. It doesn't seem to benefit many people, and there hasn't been a lot of evidence for that. Some people have expressed concern over people with disabilities, saying that people with disabilities could have difficulty going between different hubs if they need to transfer. And then others have said the riders are primarily people of color. It would be most affecting them, and it's not something that makes sense, especially at a time when we are advocating for increased racial justice. Or people, not we. So again, this is Will James, Surpriser Eye. We really appreciate our Patreon donors. Helps us advocate for services. Kind of strange, but I'm also doing a GoFundMe for my car because I lost it. That helps me get from point A to point B as well. If you can help me with that, that'd be cool. But anyway, yeah, support our Patreon, support activists. Thanks.
Yeah. Where's your meet you? Like, oh, I spent 30 minutes
Sorry, I didn't know I was getting that close.
Are they working?
Quit.